Well, hello, and welcome to another edition of Audit Talk. I'm Scott Arnold, the CEO of Audit Board, and I'm here with Anthony Pugliese, the President and CEO of the Institute of Internal Auditors. Anthony, welcome to the show. It's great to have you.
Thank you, Scott. It's nice to be here.
Well, we've got so much to talk about today. I'm excited to have you on. And as everybody who's listening to this will know, Audit Board and the IAA have been working very closely together, especially in the last several years on a number of different projects. And so we're just excited to keep that partnership going and to continue to advance the profession. So with that in mind, Anthony, maybe one place to start is around a topical area, sort of cybersecurity. So I know that in the most recent OnRisk 2022 guide from the IAA, cyber risk has come out as one of the very, very top areas of concern for auditors and companies around. And Audit Board saw this as well as in a recent survey that we published. So I'm just wondering, what are your perspectives on that? How should auditors be thinking about the role that they can play in helping organizations manage cyber risk?
Well, I mean, if you think of the most basics, our profession's role is to help, board and management, first and second lines in our three lines model, be prepared to understand risk, understand their role in mitigating risk, and help management with decisions and things that they need to be aware of. And cyber has become so dramatically important so quickly, and some of it's fueled actually by the pandemic. And I think when we look at it in the sense of, we know that there's a almost 3 million person workforce gap in terms of people available and skilled to do cybersecurity. And given where we sit in organizations, I have to think we are uniquely qualified and situated to provide that service on what we are calling the key risk for the last 2 years. And the process of what we need to learn about cyber, of course, is something that we are working on and designing models so our members can understand it better. But some of the things that are out there now that I think about is, what are the internal controls in place internally to help mitigate those risks? And we have third parties now where major breaches can occur, where disclosures have to happen to customers and so forth. And just new things like organizations that are subject to persistent hackers. I think we're able to really provide and assist management and boards with understanding that risk and responding appropriately to it. And even helping management and boards describe to the public, say in a disclosure, exactly what they're doing to mitigate risk. We can also assist in areas like that. So it's such a broad range on such a big topic, and knowing the workforce gap is what it is, I think we have an active role here. And I think we're able to claim this space. A lot of professions say they're the ones that own this risk, that they're the ones that are doing it, but we really are uniquely qualified. We are already there. So it's a natural growth area for us. And I think it's important for us because this risk isn't going away anytime soon. It's just getting more and more significant.
Well, if cyber is the top of the headlines today, right below it, if not above the fold, is the whole issue of ESG. And oh my gosh, like so many things going on there as it relates to environmental responsibility, all sorts of things around social, some of which are defined and some of which still remain, kind of open for interpretation. I know you've spent some time up on Capitol Hill with some discussions and around like the SEC. This is such an area that could explode to us in the profession going forward. How are you thinking about that, and how do you think we can help prepare the profession to really be ready to play a key role in ESG as well?
This truly, you've picked two topics near and dear. This is truly another example of our opportunity with cyber. We have one with ESG. I think, just kind of like anecdotally, I think the one question I get the most from members is, why is this happening so fast? And I have to always remind them it's not. It's actually been happening over decades. It's beginning to hit North America, specifically the US, a little bit quicker than it has in the past, but companies have been doing this since the 90s, especially in Europe. And I think what's causing it to mature maybe at a more accelerated pace is, the world's changing. We are seeing climate change issues, and we're seeing a range of issues that are actually proving that those disclosures are important. And we're also seeing investors demanding it. And actually, we're seeing trillions of dollars in mutual funds being set up around companies that are practicing sound ESG policies. And when you layer in data and technology, it really starts to make these things important. For example, AI can almost fall under the social or the governance part of ESG. So it's quick, it's been fast, and in the United States, we're really looking at imminent laws, probably disclosure requirements first, and then laws around how it has to be handled. And I could go on and on for the reasons why it's important, but at the highest level, it's certainly going to become a compliance issue, but the risk issue of not hitting these targets causes investors to lose faith, and it causes organizations to lose value. Or the flip side of it, if it's handled well, it causes value to increase. And our profession can be a part of causing that value creation, creating the value. I think I also get the question, like, what exactly are we supposed to do with things like carbon emissions and societal issues like DE&I and so many other ones that are included in an ESG model, regardless of what country is setting laws around it. I go back to kind of the basics. We are good with policies and procedures. We understand data management really well. We also understand, I'm going to dumb this down, but we understand calculations and estimations and how those should and are done. And that's a big part of what's under the ESG umbrella. We certainly understand control, design, and review, and understanding operating effectiveness, and just putting it all together and disclosing it. We can provide assistance in that process. Management owns it, but we're there to help. And it really does, when you think about what we do best, those 5 things I just mentioned, that's who we are. That is our DNA as a profession. And when we have laws and regulations, we have the path to understanding how consistency can start coming into the equation.
So I'm going to pick up on just a theme there, which is this whole idea of traditional skills and emerging skills that are required for the audit profession to be successful and add the kind of value they can going forward. And so in both the areas of cyber and in ESG, you talked a little bit about this idea of bridging between controls and more strategic thinking. Obviously in ESG, there's just the beginnings of some rubrics out there in terms of what might be the requirements from several different bodies. And so how do you think about what types of skills and development might be required for auditors to be successful in this new world?
Yeah, and it's the good news is you don't have to, unless you're working in an organization where it's hit with everything quickly, like certain parts of public company sector, they're going to get hit with it quicker, financial services, healthcare. But generally speaking, you're able to kind of gauge your skill set with the maturity of the organization's disclosure process, because not every company in the United States is going to get hit with this at the same pace. So understanding where a company is on that kind of maturity scale of they want to start doing it versus they have to do it tells you where you need to come in and understand and apply skills. Really, the biggest one now is on human capital management. That's the one I'm seeing the most. Diversity, equity, inclusion, hiring practices, all of that. But we can come in based on the maturity of the organization and training that IIA, as an example, is producing now, start to upskill to be able to provide, the specifics of ESG, but using our core skill sets. If that does that make sense?
No, it totally doesn't. I guess I'm thinking about it from the point of view of, with so much changing and the chance to play such an important role in helping companies do good and do the right thing, in addition to doing well and protecting the assets and the brands of the business, things like that. There's a lot more that's being asked going forward of auditors as part of this. And so I guess I'm just, that technology is near and dear to our heart. So I'm wondering what role you think, in the midst of these transformations that are going on around cyber, around ESG, around skill transitions to be more strategic partners into the business, what role do you think technology can help play in elevating the profession?
Well, it's not, I'm trying to change the wording there, but it's not just changing the profession, it's requiring the profession to change. Everything is becoming more and more driven by IT. So it's actually, not to be dramatic, it's a matter of our survival as a profession that we engage in technology, learning, and skilling. And our current chair, Charlie Wright, always talks about it as upskilling. We have to think of our profession as in need, upskilling. And the good news is every, I'll call it learned profession that I've come across is actually in that same process, that same evolution right now, whether even the medical profession, the dental profession, certainly the CPA or chartered accountant profession, all of them realize they're going to have to upskill in their technology baseline of understanding. So we have to evolve into that. And even getting into issues like our exam has to evolve to cover more topical areas related to ESG. And we're looking at that, or cyber, or anything where technology comes into play. We're actively looking at that. And we have to, because this change is coming. If ESG is coming fast, I think the technology changes are coming even faster. And 5 years ago, we weren't really talking a whole lot about AI the way we are now, or blockchain. Now it's blockchain and crypto, and valuations of things that are very intangible at times. So what we're doing to help with that evolution is we're certainly looking at our certification, our flagship CIA, and maybe there's other certifications that we need to have go along with that to help in that transition. But we also are looking at our standards, our IPPF, the core of our standards, and understanding, do we need to modify and evolve these standards to cover IT areas and give our members guidance on, if you're going to provide assurance level reporting to management and boards, these are the standards you should consider and use in those kind of engagements. And even in consultative engagements, standards are still very useful. And we're looking at that now as well. But on just the core of how do you teach a profession that's, IIA has been around 80 years, the profession's been around a heck of a lot longer, is we're looking at competency modeling. So what we're looking at is, what does a person need to understand if they're entering, say, cyber as a topic at what I would call a basic level of understanding? And then what about someone that's been dabbling and they need an intermediate level? And then we even have the advanced levels, people that know what they're doing, but they want to keep in touch with the updates and changes. We're looking at modeling based on competency frameworks, topical areas, so that members can jump in where they need. And around each of those, we have what we call portfolios, conferences, self-study products, webinars like this, other mechanisms to help them learn the way that they're best able to learn. That's an individual choice. And making sure we partner with organizations like Audit Board to help get that message out, the critical importance of it. So that's, again, I was a long-winded saying of it's going to force us to evolve. It's not assisting us. It's really pushing us.
So I know this is important to the IA. It's obviously very important to Audit Board as well, that we make those types of opportunities available to those who may not otherwise be able to afford them. And so in partnership with the IIA, Audit Board has sponsored the Elevate Scholarship Program for those who were either dislocated by the pandemic or increasingly now on a merit base. To be able to do that. So that's part of, I think, the heart of Audit Board and the heart of the IA to do good as well, to help others. Anthony, are there any other elements of your sort of strategic vision going forward? And I'd love to hear more about that, but that center around this idea of not just elevating the profession, but doing good in the world?
Yeah, we do a lot of good in the world. First of all, what we do protects people. It protects investors, it protects shareholders and stakeholders and all of that. So like other professions can state, we are a benefit to the public interest. We do things that protect people and protect organizations where you may have investments or whatever else is relevant to stakeholders. Our strategic plan, which is newly released in August of this year, looks at basically 6 high-level goals that we want to use as our objectives to help members do better. And when our members do better, we believe that benefits the public interest at the highest level. Things like making sure IIA as an organization is meeting the needs of its members, like reimagining and transforming who we are, just like the businesses our members work for have to constantly do. We want to do that. We want to make sure competency and learning is a cornerstone of that plan. And I described a little bit of that. We want to make sure that we do advocacy work so that what we do and the way we serve the public interest is understood by legislators and standard setters and other regulatory bodies around the world, in the US for sure, but around the world as an objective. And maybe one that's important as well is some professions have stereotypes that are just inaccurate of who they are and what they do and what they're capable of. We have one where we say we want to evolve our image and our brand. And that's important because I want people to know what it is we do when they hear the words internal auditor, certified internal auditor, and Institute of Internal Auditors. I want those to have a meaning that we help shape, and it gives the message of who we really are. We don't just do financial controls, if you even know that. We do so much more. So evolving image and brand, and another one we have specifically for the profession and its evolution to serve the public interest is what we call, to enable the profession for the future. And under that category or goal, we have things like evolving our IPPF and making sure that our profession is seen as, among other things, a profession that is technology savvy. And that's a long lift. That's why we say prepare for the future. Is it's the sum of those parts, adding them all up, that we see that we've lifted the profession and it's ready for challenges as they come toward it, like this evolution in cyber quickly, and ESG or IT as a whole. We believe all that helps our members. It helps them do their work better, and that work serves a greater public good.
Well, that's exciting. What a fun vision to think about, and way more than just financial controls, as you said, very clearly. And if I think about some of the issues that even we've just discussed on this audit talk today around cyber and ESG and how to leverage technology effectively and evolve the organization, there's a lot of work to do as it relates to helping the professionals that we all serve to continue to evolve and grow. So Anthony, I want to thank you so much for stopping by today, even if it's virtual. I hope we can do the next one in person. And thank you for being a part of Audit Talk. It's been really great to speak with you.
Thank you, Scott. My pleasure.